I want to try out Construction Notes Manager 5.1. So I'll download it to my desktop from the download page and install it. When I try to install it, Windows says it doesn't recognize it, so I need to tell it to run it anyway, and off we go. Everything is like a typical installation pretty much until we get to the end, when it gives us some special instructions. To finish installing, we have to drag CNM install.list from the desktop into an open drawing. And I'll go ahead and view the README. Now I've got a vanilla installation of AutoCAD 2019 with my insertion unit set to unitless, and I've got my README, and I'm going to drag in that install.lisp into an open drawing. I'll give it permission to load and let it do its thing. So I've done this, and it looks like I've been playing, and it unloaded the previous menu, and it's loading again. And it says I need to use the CNM alias command if I want to activate keyboard aliases. We'll look at that later. And if I moved it, I have to restart AutoCAD. But I didn't move CNM. So let's just look at the next step in the README. Looks like I've got it installed, but how do I know that's true? Let's go to a demonstration. Let's open this from my Documents folder where I've got Construction Notes Manager examples, and I'll just drag the demo drawing up here into the upper area so it opens. And then I run, I run the script. And so I'll get that and just drag it right into the drawing. I want to make sure its units are unitless because that's how I'm operating. Otherwise I'm going to get scaling. Looks like it's still thinking. Drag in the script and let it do its thing. And I'm going to be looking for it to finish with some success. Here it's drawing a profile using CNM's profile drafter. Now it's going to put in some bubble notes using the Construction Notes Manager. And it's already done some contour volume calculations. It put in a table. What else? Oh, it did some offsetting for a subdivision of the street section. And here it drew a utility line, it looks like. Maybe a couple of utility lines. All just a few demonstrations of the things CNM can do. I'll zoom extents, and it says all tests completed successfully, close drawing without saving. Let's go back to the README. We can see that CNM is successfully installed. We can use the CNM alias command to activate shortcuts for the CNM tools, keyboard shortcuts for the CNM tools, or some Lisp versions of PGP aliases. We can open the command reference to find out what all these cool tools are, but let's first figure out how to use Construction Notes Manager. To manage construction notes with CNM, we write our notes, insert bubbles, and then make a table. I pointed wrong. We write our notes with the pencil icon, which will bring up a spreadsheet. Then we insert our bubbles, then we make a table. So here I've got a spreadsheet open, with the default sample notes for CNM. In this example file, there's 8 shapes, and each shape has a note 1 that is quantified by adding up line 1 of the bubbles. And it's got a note 2 that's quantified by counting up all the bubbles. I'll just change this by turning the 8-inch PVC into a 12-inch PVC. And then I'll save it. And spreadsheets are always going to say, you want to use CSV? Yeah, we want to use CSV. And then I'll go back to my AutoCAD and put in a bubble, which is box note 1. So let's put in box note 1. And let's give it another 546 feet. This LF on the bubble doesn't really do anything. It's just for looks. The number is what does everything. And then I make my table by clicking on this table button, and all we have is box note 1. It's got 548, which is 2 plus 546. And if I insert a bunch of other notes, suppose a circle 2 and let's say I copy this, several times and make one of them into a diamond, the next one into a hex, and the next one into a pentagon. Then I make my table again. I should have one of a bunch of things, and which I do. And if I wanted to make that into 2 columns, I would tell it to only go this far down, and it would only go that far down. And then if I wanted to make it wrap things a little tighter, I have other options, but we'll look at that later, because I'm going to make this a long video if you want additional detail. But that's it, other than doing the quantity takeoff. The quantity takeoff, to do that, let's pretend we're in another drawing, but we'll just go over here and we'll just say, let's do a quantity takeoff. It says, how do you want to pick which sheets to add up? And I'll say, let's select one at a time. And it takes me to my documents folder. So I'll go into the demo and pick this construction notes. It says cancel when finished, so I just say cancel. There's only one sheet. Now, which notes do you want to list? All of them or just the ones we used? I'll say all this time. And where do you want to put it? Right there. And there we get all the notes that are defined for this project, along with the quantities. There's one quantity of luminaire, one sewer manhole, and then if we go into the folder, we can see another CSV that we can open up in a spreadsheet or with a text editor, and it has all of our quantities for the sheets. Of course, it'll look better if I put it in a spreadsheet, so I'll do that. And here's the spreadsheet with all our total quantities. We've got the quantity for the CNM demo sheet, and we've got the total quantities for the whole project here. But let's look at a few things. What if you want these lines to be shorter? Or what if you don't want a line break right there after the word per? Let's look at those two things. As it happens, there's a hard line break after the word per in the project notes file. and that was added with the \n. If I remove that \n and just replace it with a space and then save the file, next time I create the table, that line break will go away. Did it work? Oh, I'm not. I'm at the quantity takeoff. There. It took it away. Now, if I want the total line wrapping to be different, I could add a line about line wrapping in my project notes file, or I can go into CNM options and change the wrapping to, say, 20 and build the table again. Alright. Suppose we don't want to see these quantities and we don't like that box on the title line. What do? Well, we can take care of both of those also in options. The quantities are here and the title shapes are here. And we just make the table again, and those should both go away. But what if we build the table and we're trying to make a bunch of columns? So we say we only want it to go down to here, and their columns are too far apart. Well, we can take care of that in CNM options by telling it the horizontal spacing of a split keynotes table is only, let's say, 30. And then we can build it again to this height, and they're a lot closer together, and we can play with that. Now what if we've got this bubble note on top of something? We would want to be able to have some text masking on that. And we can do that by using these grips to stretch a little text mask that's included on the bubble. Or if we want to change shape on that thing to use it somewhere else, we can just do that. And it looks like I've somehow introduced a bug where these masks are on top of the shapes. So I'll be fixing that now. And those are the main highlights of Construction Notes Manager. Let's go over some of the other tools. Let's go over the ones that have been demonstrated first. This is representing a little retention basin, and there was a contour volume calculated with the contour volume command. But that command is CV, but it's not. That brings up an AutoCAD command. If I want to have the standard CNM command aliases, I need to type CNM alias and say I'll take the keyboard shortcuts for the CNM tools. Yes. And then no, no, no. Now if I type CV, contvol. Maybe I changed it because there was a conflict. Pick a contour, pick another contour, pick another contour, pick another contour, and then pick the place for the calculation. There's also a very cool tool to draw utility lines, UT. I like it especially to draw existing commands or existing utilities. Hawes UT. Okay. Hawes UT. Alright. Setup. Existing. Let's say sewer. Size for label, 24 inch. Size for graphic, I've got a little slide here that tells me the wall thickness for things, so I can make it 24 or I'll make it 27. Material for the label, let's say VCP. And do I want to call it 24-inch sewer VCP? I'll take that. And where do we want to start? Here. And then it draws like a polyline. Let's see, I need an arc. And then it draws me a little 24-inch sewer and labels it. That's kind of nice. It's just 3 polylines. I won't go over the profile drafter or the multiple offset tool, but I will tell you that it was able to do that offsetting from this piece of text with a little cryptic description of what it needed to do. The only thing I'll do before I quit is open the CNM command reference from the CNM folder and show you a little bit from it. This is that command reference. I've opened it up and it's currently in order of coolness. It's got the most cool tools at the top. Here's one that changes the angle of something to match something else. Here's something that joins polylines that are on the same layer. Let's try a couple of them just to see if they work. I think we're going to need to open a new drawing so that those aliases work. I closed and reopened the demo drawing, and now let's try a couple of those commands. Let's try the NA command. New angle. Pick the objects. Let's pick this guy, make him match this guy. Then let's pick this guy and make him match this guy. He must have gone somewhere crazy. But that's how that works. It'll work with lines. I can say new angle on this line to match that line. And it tries to do something useful. The next one on the list is PJL. Join polyline on the same layer. That would work if I explode one of these, and then I could just say PJL and pick him. PJL, pick him, and he's back together as a polyline. It's really handy if there's a lot of confusion and things on different layers, but you only want it to join the ones on the right layer. And that's how you can just try out some of the things. Some of the ones that are the best are the simplest. Rotate something 180 degrees. That's pretty simple. But if you're zooming along and want to save all the time you can, you type R1, this guy about that point, and do him again about that point. So I'll call it quits for now, and that's how you could also try the tools along with CNM.